تحركات الأعداء تتحرك. وحدات الأعداء. تحركات الأعداء، هل تسمعني؟ شكرا، أدين لك بواحدة. سريا للأعداء. تحركات الجنود مسلحة للأعداء، هل تسمع؟ حاملة جنود مسلحة تخص الأعداء. نفذت الذخيرة مني. حاضر، تسمعني؟ تم التعرف على فريق الأعداء هنا. تحركات للأعداء، هل تسمعني؟ وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. حول. تحركات الأعداء تتحرك. دبابة للأعداء في المنطقة، حول. تحركات الأعداء تتحرك. قوات الأعداء، حول. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. صارت حاملة جنود مسلحة. تحركات وحدات الأعداء يسمعوني؟ تحركات الأعداء، هل تسمعوني؟ 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 وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. تحركات الأعداء، هل تسمعوني؟ سننقل إلى الدفاع. شوهد السيارة للأعداء. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. شوهدت قوات الأعداء. شوهد السيارة للأعداء. دبابة الأعداء تتحرك. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. أنا المخطئ. تحركات الأعداء. شوهدت قوات الأعداء. جنود الأعداء.
الطائرة بدون سيار تعمل، بدأت البث.
ظهر جنود الأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. تحرك بسرعة. اهجم هنا. قوات الأعداء، حول. تحرك بسرعة. اهجم هنا. تحركات الأعداء، هل تسمعوني؟
الطائرة بدون سيار تعمل، وبدأت
تم
البث.
التحرك على سرير الأعداء على الطريق. شوهدت كشفت مدرع للأعداء. شكرا. كشفت مدرع للأعداء على الأرض. تحرك جنود الأعداء على الأرض. حاملة جنود الأعداء في المنطقة، حول.
بدأت البث.
تحركات الأعداء، هل تسمعوني؟ ظهر جنود وحدات الأعداء تتحرك.
جاري البث الحي من الطائرة.
جنود الأعداء. دافع عن هذه الإحداثيات. جنود الأعداء. جنود الأعداء. جنود حول سريع للأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. جنود الأعداء. جنود الأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. شوهدت قوات الأعداء. ظهر جنود
جاري البث الحي من الطائرة بدون طيار.
ظهر جنود الأعداء. نحتاج شوهد القوات الأعداء. تم التعرف على جنود الأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. نطلب طريق إصلاح. حول.
الطائرة بدون طيار تعمل. بدأت البث.
قوات أعداء. حول. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. تسمعوني؟ شوهدت قوات تحرك بسرعة. هجم هنا.
الطائرة بدون طيار تعمل. بدأت البث.
The enemy is in control. Work harder, soldiers. You got it. Okay. You got it. Move it. You got it. Okay. Okay. Got it. Enemy forces over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Spotted. Over. New commander reporting for duty. Requesting ammunition. Over. We need ammo. Hostile spotted. Over. Spotted. Over. Hostile enemy forces spotted. Over. Enemy unit identified. You copy? Thanks, champ. Enemy units on the move. We've regained control. Good work, men. Move out. Attack here. All clear. Position under control. Out. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy APC. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. We need repairs. Quick. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. No way, man. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy units on the move. Enemy forces. Enemy units on the move. and under control.
Enemy activity on the ground. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Hostile enemy units on the move. Hostile APC. Enemy on the ground. Thanks. I owe you one. Thanks, Jim. Enemy troops.
Enemy APC identified. Enemy APC identified.
Enemy APC. Enemy APC. Do you copy? Do you
Enemy
copy?
forces over. Enemy APC spotted.
Enemy active. Enemy APC. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostiles on the ground. Hostile on the road. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Do you copy? No, sir. Enemy activity. Do you copy? No way, man.
10-4. Enemy forces over. Hostile
Enemy
forces
troops.
spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy forces over.
Hostiles on the ground. Enemy units on the move. Do you copy? We need repairs here. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy troops. Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Follow me.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces over.
Enemy activity. Enemy units on the move.
Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces
units
over.
on the move. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Roger that.
Enemy APC. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Enemy troops. Hostiles on the ground.
Enemy armor spotted.
troops.
Requesting repair support. Over. Requesting
Enemy
repair
troops
identified. Do you copy?
Enemy activity. Hostile copy.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Requesting repair support. Over.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Hostiles on the ground. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Hostiles on the ground.
Hostile forces infantry spotted. Over.
I owe you one. Enemy units on the move. Thanks. I owe you one.
Hostile armor sighted. Over. Enemy car spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you
Hostile
copy?
forces spotted. Over. Hostile armor sighted. Over. Requesting repairs. Over. New commander
Enemy
reporting for
units on
duty.
the move.
Hostile forces.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy forces spotted. Over.
I owe you one.
UAV
Hostile
transmitting
forces
on
spotted.
course.
Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. 10-4.
Enemy APC. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy troops.
Enemy armor spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy APC identified. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy forces
APC.
spotted.
Do you copy?
Enemy APC spotted.
Enemy units on the
Hostile
move.
forces spotted. Over.
Hostile
Enemy
APC.
forces over. Enemy forces over. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces infantry spotted. Over.
Enemy troops. Copy.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Position cleared and under control.
Enemy
Hostile forces
troops.
spotted. Infantry spotted. Over.
Hit it.
UAV
Let's move.
online and transmitting.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Enemy APC. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy APC spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units identified. Hostile forces spotted. Spotted. Over. Enemy activity. Hostile vehicle spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Hostile on the road. Hostile enemy vehicle. Hostile on the road. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Artillery, your area. Enemy forces over. Enemy APC spotted. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile APC. We've lost control of an outpost.
Online.
Damn it, sorry. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces over. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces APC spotted. Enemy APC spotted. Enemy tank is inbound. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
Transmitting on this mark.
Enemy activity. You copy. Hostiles on the ground. Enemy forces over. Requesting ammunition. Over. Enemy units on the move. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Hostile forces supplies. Enemy ammo. Spotted. 10-4. Good deal. Thanks.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy AD spot identified. We need ammo. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Artillery, your area. We need ammo. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Over. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Snipers on our perimeter. On the ground. Requesting repair. We need ammo. We need ammo.
Ammo!
Hey, thanks.
Get ammo here!
Requesting repair support. Over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy units on the move. Position cleared and under control. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over.
Sniper! Sniper!
Snipers on our perimeter.
Ammo here!
Hostiles on the ground. Damn it, sorry. Snipers on our perimeter.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy vehicle! Artillery, your area. Enemy forces supplies at your position. Hostile forces spotted. Requesting repair support. Over. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Hostile on the road. Enemy units on the move. Vehicle spotted in your sector. Enemy forces over. Enemy forces over. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Over. Enemy forces over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy unit. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Over. Enemy forces over. Spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy activity. Enemy unit on the move. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV online and mapped.
Enemy APC spotted. Copy. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy APC forces over. Supplies at your position. Requesting repairs. Over. Enemy vehicle on the road. Enemy forces. Enemy vehicle. Enemy units on the move. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Enemy force. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Infantry spotted. Over. Hostile vehicle spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy hostile forces spotted. Enemy APC spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Over. Hostile enemy troops. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Spotted. Over. Enemy APC. Enemy APC. Enemy activity. Hostile APC. Enemy APC identified. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy APC spotted. Enemy forces. Enemy APC identified. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units hostile. Enemy on the move. Do you copy? Sniper. Good deal. Thanks. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Snipers on our perimeter. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy active. Do you copy? Running dry. Need ammo. Over. Enemy activity. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile vehicle spotted. Over. Enemy APC. Do you copy? Enemy troops. Enemy units on the move. Enemy hostiles on the ground. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Identified. Do you copy? Thanks, Champ. Enemy forces. Over. We got hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy activity. Sniper. Copy. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile APC. Enemy APC. Hostile APC. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. We need repairs, quick. Do you copy? Snipers on our perimeter. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Snipers on our perimeter. Vehicle dropped in your sector. Enemy units on the move. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Sniper.
UAV is on you.
Snipers on our perimeter. Sniper! 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 Lost community.
Transmitting on this
Enemy troops! Enemy troops identified. Infantry spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy sniper troops identified. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy troops identified. Enemy units on the move. On the ground. Enemy troops identified. On the move. Do you copy? Enemy units on the move. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Enemy unit. Enemy unit. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. Enemy troops. Sorry. Enemy units on the move. Enemy forces. Enemy car spotted. Vehicle spotted. Over. Enemy units. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Do you copy? Hostiles on the ground. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Mount up. Enemy Western Mouggier spotted. Over. Enemy armor spotted.
transmitting on this mark.
Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy armor spotted. Snipers spotted. Snipers on our perimeter. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Snipers on our perimeter. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Sniper. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Sniper. Artillery, your area. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hop in. Enemy troops. Supplies at your position. Let's move. Enemy troops. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy activity. Attack here. Enemy troops. Hostiles on the ground. Enemy activity. Enemy units on the move.
UAV on
Enemy troops. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile armor sighted. Over. Hostile armor sighted. Over. Enemy tank is inbound. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy armor spotted. Hostile armor sighted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Sniper. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Okay.
transmitting on this
Enemy
mark.
APC. Enemy car spotted. Hostile APC. Enemy APC. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile vehicle spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile APC. I owe you one. Copy. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile APC. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile sniper spotted. Enemy units on the move. We got hostile armor. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops. Do you copy? Snipers on our perimeter. Enemy troops. Snipers on our perimeter. Over. We got hostile armor. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Enemy APC spotted. Artillery, your area. Enemy APC spotted. Supplies at your position. Enemy troops. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy on the move. Do you copy?
UAV online and
Enemy units on the move. Do you copy? Enemy troops. Enemy units on the move. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units. Enemy troops. Forces spotted. Over. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy APC. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy troops here. Quick. Do you copy? Enemy forces over. Enemy forces over.
UAV transmitting.
Enemy forces over.
Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy unit on the move. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. I owe you one. Enemy unit on the move. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces over. Enemy units on the move. Enemy activity. Do you
Supplies
copy?
at your position.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Sniper! Enemy units on the
Sniper
move.
spotted. Enemy armor spotted. Enemy infantry.
Enemy forces over. Enemy forces over.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy armor spotted.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Enemy infantry spotted. We've lost control of it.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy troops. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted.
Enemy
forces
infantry
over. Hostile
spotted.
infantry spotted. Enemy armor spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces over. Do you copy? Snipers on our perimeter.
All clear. Position
Enemy
under control.
infantry
Spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy forces over.
Enemy infantry spotted.
Hostile forces. Enemy forces over. Enemy
forces spotted.
Enemy forces. Enemy activity. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move.
Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile
We've
snipers
lost
spotted. Over.
control of an outpost.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy hostile sniper spotted. Over.
Enemy car spotted.
Do you copy? Enemy troops. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile repairs. Quick. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
Supplies at your position.
Enemy troops
We've lost
identified.
control.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? On the move. Enemy units on the move. Enemy units on the move. Enemy on the move. Do you copy? We need repairs here.
Position cleared and under control.
Enemy units on the move.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
Enemy troops on the ground.
Vehicle dropping your sector.
Enemy troops on the ground.
Enemy car spotted.